Hello. Hello. We're back. We are back. And with the victors of the Beetlemead Adventuring Invitational, prestigious guests indeed. We have victors, ladies and gentlemen, and what brave victors they are. Let's give them a good cheer. The children are still gathered nearby, and they let out a mix of cheers, jeers, and aimless shouting noises. There is a very, very mild smattering of applause from some scattered passers-by.
I will turn around and see if the corpses are still there.
Well, the body of the guard is still leant against the wall, dripping. There is a steadily mounting pile of coffins next to the jail. There's coffins enough for one group of adventurers, and there's two large boxes.
Okay. I'm just staring at them while we get this congratulations.
Absolutely. Sheriff Warney is kind of like clapping very, very loudly and enthusiastically and walking down the steps from the platform as he does so, and walks over to you and says, "Well done. Very well done indeed," and holds out his hand and is like furiously pumping each of his handshakes with either of you. He just grasps a lump of goo on the side of your cube and jiggles it about a bit, I think.
This is thoroughly uncouth. I am outraged.
Well, no time like the present, I suppose. Follow me. He turns round, flanked by a couple of guards. Deputy Destra is sort of like walking fast to keep up with him as he sort of doesn't look back and just starts making his way through the streets of Beetlemead.
Can I fill up my canteen before we go, Mr. Sir Warney, sir?
Oh, well, no need to slow us down. You, private, give that fellow your canteen, please. The private kind of goes, turns around and hands you his canteen. He doesn't look happy about it.
I will pass him my empty one in return.
Takes it and tucks it away. You make your way through the streets of Beetlemead, not for long, before you reach a dusty alleyway. The sheriff takes a turn down it, and at the end of it, laid over what looks like a collapsed section of paving, is a very battered old wooden door, like a normal door for a house. A few magpies are pecking at a relatively new shining knocker at the center of it, then take off with a start as you approach. Warney gestures at the door. Well, there you go. Enjoy. Is that an appropriate term? I suppose so. You folk eat danger for breakfast, eh? Enjoy. I'll be out here with the lads and lasses awaiting your successful return, and if the worst should happen, don't worry. If we don't hear anything in a few days, we'll just nail that door down so no one else will be hurt.
Well, there's treasure and adventure down here, right?
Almost certainly.
Something we'll be able to make some good songs out of.
Absolutely. And again, if you don't return, I'll make sure someone writes a song about that.
Wonderful.
Huzzah!
Cra!
Yeah, just lift that door off. We just left it there.
Okay. Is there anything? Do you have a task for us?
Oh no, just go down, do your business, see what's down there. Any treasure, I suppose. No, technically there should be. Come on. No. You could keep that and deal with dangers and threats to Beetlemead, things of that nature. We're very grateful.
Great. I didn't know adventuring was quite so relaxed.
Looking back at the coffins.
Destra looks very worried.
Well, go over to the door and lift it or open it or
Give the bugbear chap a hand with the door. The same private who steps over and goes. Lifts the door up. Below is what looks like the alleyway is kind of collapsed at the end, basically, and there's kind of like a rough number of cobblestones and dirt and brick kind of leading down to what looks like a sort of very old looking stone passageway or tunnel.
sort of turn around, look at the others, and step in.
Followed by the others, I assume.
To adventure.
Unfortunately, obviously, your tortoise is going to have to stay up here. Destra goes, "Don't worry, I'll look after your steed, Sir Knight."
Thank you.
As the guards kind of like put the door back down over the pit in the alleyway, the last thing you all see before you go down is Destra sort of like patting the tortoise and going, peering down after you and going, and then you are in a relatively dark passageway under the streets of Beetlemead. Now, I didn't mention it before at all to anyone, but who is going to map for us? Because you'll probably want a map.
Now you pull that trick on.
Now I pull that. Someone who could probably share it on screen, whether it's a drawing held up or a share screen.
I can go and find a piece of paper if you like.
Sure.
Okay.
Unless
Give me a couple of minutes.
I don't think anyone else is volunteering, so yeah.
I do
don't
not
want
trust
to.
my mapping ability.
I don't want to volunteer in my tiny office where I have no space to write.
I mean, you're all assuming it needs to be good. I mean, at least some of you were in and/or saw Into the Odd, right? Where Mike was our mapper.
Mike's a good mapper.
Mike's a very good mapper.
Yeah.
He did a good job in Simba when you were doing the underground bit.
Look,
Yeah.
don't take the opportunity to insult Mike away from me.
Don't be holding me up to Mike's mapping standards either.
I've spent
ready for
20 years honing these skills.
Look, we're just saying, if you're going to insult Mike, insult him over insultable things, not
Sure.
complimentary things.
Just insulting for not being here and being our mapper.
Yeah.
Point well taken. Politely
Bastard.
declined. So, so you find yourself, as I say, in this stone passageway. Ahead of you, it definitely seems to kind of open out to like a chamber of some kind. And in that chamber, there is definitely light coming down from above, presumably from those thick panes of glass that are everywhere in the street. Right?
Can you give me a clue as to where on the paper would be a good place to start drawing?
I absolutely can, and I would say about the center.
About the center, cool.
You see, I'd already got that wrong. So
Fantastic.
There we go.
And
I would,
for the sake of argument, are we calling this initial passage? What direction is that? North?
I would say do it. You've entered at the south of it, and it's running north.
Cool.
And let's say that it's. Oh God, I'm terrible at like meterages and stuff. I would say let's double these because that seems like a good idea. I'd say it's about 8. Whatever length you want to do stuff is about 8 meters long before it opens out into the roof. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, something like that.
For anyone who's paying attention to me, I have taken off my top hat because it might interfere with the roof in an underground area, and instead swapped it out for my hard hat for underground use.
nice.
Yep, makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, are we moving forward?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So, has anyone done this sort of stuff before?
Well, not much.
I've been underground a lot. I slime.
That's got to count for something.
I once got lost in Master Pipley's old storage room. There were some
It's fine.
horrible things back there.
That sounds a bit like this. I know lots of stories and shanties about adventures, so I think I've got a fairly good grasp on the sort of things that happen.
Great.
You look strong. I slime, pointing at Olgrim.
thank you.
He is.
I'm shipping it already. I got Stephen.
Well,
Stephen.
Good
Nice.
timing. Good timing.
Nice.
Well, purple slime slightly closer to Ogrim.
Nice. Okay. Are we proceeding into the first chamber?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you find yourself in a chamber that's maybe 10 meters wide and 8 meters. How would you? Yeah, it's 10 meters east to west.
Deep.
Yeah, deep. Sure, 8 meters deep. It has a number of exits from it, but you know what? I'm not going to deal with the exits from rooms until we deal with the room, right? Because that seems reasonable. Okay. It is, and all the chambers and the corridors will be like this broadly, right? It's all built of old weathered stone, very obviously constructed. Like then these aren't in no way natural, right? Each area, every single area is illuminated by shafts of bright sunlight from above. But obviously because of the nature of them coming from like the pavement above, they do come down as shafts, right? So there is a darkness to certain areas of this, but you can broadly see pretty well, and everything is just illuminated with this bright light that has fragments of kind of like dust, rock dust, and all sorts of like little floating detritus just like floating through it. It is, broadly speaking, though, bright and only a little cooler than the streets above. This first chamber, as it opens up to you, you see that unlike the rest of the passageway in the room that you can see, it has a wooden floor which looks very uneven. A tarnished silver key, a quite large one, is hanging from the ceiling via a short glinting chain. It is, let's imagine how high, unless I say otherwise, all these chambers have a height of, I'm terrible at gauging height. What's the average height of a person? Is it like 2 meters?
Yeah, slightly
One-
under.
1.7, I think.
Okay, sure. I'd say the average height of these chambers is like 5 meters, right?
Mhm.
So it's quite, they're quite high. They're quite high. What's that, like a story and a half or whatever? Something like that. Yeah, they're 4 to 5 meters. What I'm saying is you can't jump up and get this key, right? And everywhere in this dungeon is about that height to the pavement. That's it.
What? Can we just keep moving from this room? Do we need the key to get out?
Yeah, you can keep moving from this room if you want. There's a passageway leads out in the center of the west wall, roughly in the center of the east wall, and in the very northwest. There's a passageway leading north.
I will gesture. That key seems useful. Anyone got a thing to get it?
I've got these. Hold up, my wings. Essentially.
It's convenient.
Yeah.
So I've we could go check the specific rules if you want, Matt. I'm pretty sure during character creation that that Welkin can fly short distances. The difficulty might be I don't know if I can carry the key, but if I can knock it down or something.
You have prehensile feet, don't you?
Oh. I've got if the key counts as a 0 slot item, I can put it in my bill because I'm a pelican.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing is, yeah, that was weird. I thought being able to fly would be like a perk for a pelican. No, they can fly, but they can't hold anything as their arms and hands are literally their wings. Yeah. There is have you got the perk prehensile feet?
Let's have that might be where this whole plan falls down. I don't think I do, no.
Okay. You got pelican, right?
But I got pelican, yeah.
Have you got any of the quirks? Just out of interest.
I do. I've got bird bones, so -5 inventory slots.
Okay, that's fine.
It's not going to take very long before I can't carry anything we
Yeah,
fight.
absolutely. Well, here we go. We could definitely have a plan here. I think that you can fly up there perfectly fine. But you can't grab it off the chain. But what you're going to have to do is a bit of aerial acrobatics to try and kind of grab the thing with your beak while you're up there, right?
Yep.
Sure.
I
Absolutely.
actually have a proficiency in acrobatics as well.
Ooh, well then.
Seeing as you mentioned the word.
Yeah. So, are we kind of venturing into the room to do this?
I think I will be. So you said the floor was kind of uneven.
Correct. It's an uneven wood floor.
Yeah, I've had nasty experiences in the past with weak floors. So I'm going to be just sort of testing my weight on it, just seeing how stable it is, whether there's any sort of give.
Sure, absolutely. Do you want to give me a nimbleness check, please?
Sure.
And you've said you've got experience, and you're testing this, not just walking out there. So take a +1 to it from me.
Lovely, thank you. Okay, so my nimbleness is +1 anyway. So I'm going to have to swap dice because this D12 has rolled 3 far too often. So it was 3 + 1 + 1 from you is 5.
That is 5. Don't forget as well, you can spend quest points to gain like +1 to the check. Not that,
Sure, yeah.
because it is a 5, so you could gain a success with the twist if you did that.
Oh, go on, just to see how the system works. Go on. I've got,
absolutely. Yeah. So you rolled a failure with a plus there, and by spending a quest point, you've turned it into a success with a twist at 6. Let's see what this twist could be. So you kind of tap your feet on. I think that's how you said you were doing, like testing with your weight, right? You test your feet on the floor ahead of you, and with a kind of sproinging noise, one of the wooden panels on the floor below kind of rockets upwards with a massive coiled spring under it, which you're pretty sure if you'd stood on it fully would have just sent you flying up, maybe even hitting the ceiling on the way. What it does do with that twist is it sends you toppling backwards to crash to the floor. And could you make a vitality check for me, please?
Sure. Vitality is under vigor. And I have a +2 on that. This die is getting binned. I rolled a 2 +2, 4.
4. So that's a failure with a plus. Let's say that does fail. So what I'm gonna do is that's that. How much does your armor provide any block?
I don't have any armor, so
I thought
no
you had
block.
a fancy tabard.
Oh no, it's just a tabard. It's not armor. That's just clothing.
Okay. Let's do this then. Okay. Just take 1 dread as you kind of like crash to the ground and knock yourself almost senseless. But you know what? For the advantage there, I'm going to say you've spilled yourself onto the ground, and as you're kind of like reeling there and looking to one side, you see that there's a little cubby hole to the side of of this entrance to the passageway, and someone at some point has tucked a little leather pouch in there.
Well, I was sort of having crashed to the ground. That's unsafe. That is. What's that? And I'll go and sort of fish in the pouch and pull it out and have a look.
Absolutely. So could you roll me a D4, please?
I rolled a 2.
And then could you roll me a D100, please?
Certainly. Here we go. That is 80.
80. Inside the little pouch. Oh God, it was meant to be a D66. Could you roll
D66? Sure.
Thank you. Sorry.
6 and 4.
inside the little pouch is a bit of black pocked lava stone, warm to the touch. It's found in. Where are you from again? Drippy Downs.
Drippy Downs, yes.
Okay, is it someone is from Scalawag Strand, right? Is that Kra?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, when I always vocalize
yeah.
because I might be on a PDF somewhere.
That's fine.
You recognize it, Kra, as vulcanite. It's something people use in like crafting and things like that. It's a bit of a sort of a precious element.
Oh, it's vulcanite. Very useful. Quite valuable.
I'll be peering up at your hand.
Oh, well, that's something.
Well done, Ogram.
Thank you. Watch out for those spring things.
Well done for finding them.
That was easy.
You certainly made it look easy. Ah.
So, crap. We obviously the spring-loaded floor is not a problem if you're flying.
Yep.
So, are we?
Yeah.
taking
So
to the air.
I'm going to go and do some aerial acrobatics to try to essentially remove the key from the chain with my beak and carry it down in my beak.
Absolutely, and that is going to be a because there isn't an acrobatic skill, is there? That's just like a
Not that I can
proficiency.
see. Yeah.
So it's going to be nimbleness.
Nimbleness. Remind me how the proficiencies work. Is that like an advantage? I rolled twice.
It is
and
an
take the best one?
advantage. Yeah. So
Fantastic.
feel free to do that. I can't think of it. I don't think there's any other like pluses or minuses I'd give you. So
Okay. So the best out of my two rolls with my nimbleness involved would be a 10 in total.
nice. That's
Success.
straight up success. You know what? You maybe flap your wings a little bit to just try and loosen them up. Well, why don't you tell me how you go?
Yeah,
about
I think
successful.
limber up. Like for all that Kra is Welkin, I don't think he flies very much. I think he's more of a sailor and then walking on land. But like obviously he can do it. He's capable. He stows away his hurdy-gurdy. Just with some effort manages to get up to the ceiling and just opens
Ow.
that big pelican. Yeah,
Nice.
just comes back down. Here it is.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, it is as I say, a tarnished silver key. It's quite big and chunky, like a good, maybe like almost half a foot.
Ooh, okay. Does that count as an inventory slot in that case? Because if it does, then
does.
fitting in the beak is, yeah. I can only store 0 slot items in there. It's more for like concealing things.
As a comparison, like a 1 is like a hard hat or a crowbar or a lantern. I don't know if it's going to be a 0.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got a
zero.
knife
There's
that's a one,
zero.
but-
Yeah, there's 0 slots. It's
Okay,
fine. It's
cool.
fine.
Almost silver.
I just want to make they're chunky. They're not like little.
Yes. Big, but not big.
Absolutely.
Foot Plurple is thoroughly jealous that 2 people already have some treasure, so I'm now searching all the walls for more cubby holes, probably fruitlessly.
Just
Absolutely.
imagine you sort of oozing along.
Yeah,
them.
I'm just sliding along, just like
Yeah.
frustrated.
To navigate this room successfully, by the way, so that no one gets catapulted up into the air, all I will need is a single either nimbleness or nimbleness or tinker roll from someone, and I just need them to have a success to navigate across the room, and then everyone else can just follow in their footsteps anytime you need to go through the room, right?
I just gave it a go and rolled a 12 on nimbleness.
Wonderful. Kra very carefully skips around these wooden panels, and yeah, you figured out how to cross the room without getting flung into the ceiling, which is probably a good thing. And like I say, there's a passage to the west, passage to the east, and a passage north from the northwest corner.
It's this way if you don't want to get yeeted.
Once we've crossed, I will slime to motion. Treasure is always east.
Can't argue with that.
Got
I
your
believe
motion
him.
card.
East
East?
it is then.
Fair enough. That was easy. So there is a 2-meter passage, and then it opens up again into another room. This room is 8 meters wide and 10 meters deep for Steve's mapping purposes. It looks to have been maybe an abandoned training room with brass golems and a low collapsed ceiling. The golems are like holding various sort of bludgeons and blades and look to have been some kind of, as I say, mechanical training device. The only way through, the ceiling is low enough that it requires crawling to get through to the other side. There is a visible passageway in the southeast corner that seems to be leading south.
I will
It's quite dark in there because of the collapsed ceiling as well.
I will change my shape to be flatter and lower to the ground. Therefore, I don't know if that counts for crawling or not, but it's easy.
Sure. Well, you have the thing, right? The gelatinous
jelly body.
goo. Yeah, jelly body. With a vitality check, you can kind of get
Tight
through
cracks and openings.
very
That counts, doesn't
easily.
it?
Like
I'll make
everyone. I want to make it clear: everyone can get through. It's just you can
I'll
get
make
through
a
very easy. If you
I'll make a vitality check to see if I can like have a look around and get in all the crevices to find out what's in here. Would that be okay?
Yeah, sure. I think that's fine.
Sure. Okay. Plus
Just give me a
one.
vitality check for that.
Mhm.
I'm writing down these goddamn skills. I can't believe I didn't cheat sheet them.
That's a 10.
That's a 10. Okay. Well, then, this is what I'll tell you, Sam. And that is you managed to squash yourself really low to the ground and kind of squeeze yourself forward and along the floor, which probably looks quite unpleasant.
It sounds awful as well. There's all sorts of slurps and
horrible.
squishes.
And while you're doing this, you notice a couple of things. One of them, perhaps the most important, is that all of the golems on the sides of their heads have little blinking red lights.
Okay.
So they are still active.
Hmm.
And in fact, if you want to wonder about what that might mean, you can feel free to make a tinker roll.
I will roll a tinker, which I am bad at, but I might as well try. That's a 4. So
it's a failure with a plus. So what's a failure with a plus in this circumstance? And here's where I get no. I'm not going to give that for every failure with a plus. Damn it!
Damn it! I just want treasure.
So yeah, I'm going to say that for a failure with a plus, you have managed to count the number of golems in there, and it is 3. It's a bit confusing, so all like crushed brass and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, there are 3 of them, but you don't know what that means.
While I'm slipping around, does it seem like there's an easy route for the others to crawl that doesn't go near the golems, or is it like they definitely have to?
No.
Okay, got it. Cool. Okay, I will schlurp back. It's worth noting as well. I took off all of my stuff and left it before I schlurped because my stuff is, real physical hard stuff, so it can't schlurp under. I slowly put
my
it all
stuff
back on.
is real physical hard stuff too.
Well, that's probably like I think that's a genuine mark of pride from a gelatinous goo who
sure
doesn't usually have stuff. I quite like that I've got things. I'll put the things back on slowly and then schlurp to everyone that there's 3 golems and they seem to be on and we have to go past them while crawling, maybe.
I suppose that means we should be very quiet then.
I guess I don't have any indication that they could hear or see or anything, did I, Matt?
That was what the roll was for, Sam.
Yeah, I figured.
I could maybe see if I can find an off button.
I'll point out to where the nearest one is.
Okay.
wait here where it's safe. And then I'm going to go over and find off button or convenient spare wires or something. But I'm intending to try a tinker.
Sure. But to get to them, obviously, you have to crawl over. Are you crawling in any particular fashion?
I think I will crawl carefully because I hate crawling and getting stabbed in the kneecaps by sharp rocks.
Okay. Can you give me a sneak roll, please? You know what? I think like you've had like the warnings and you've been pointed out to where it is, so to take a +1 to it.
I roll a flat 2.
Flat 2. Do you want to bump that up with a quest point or anything?
That will. Hang on. Let me check the cheat sheet. Yes, let's go for that.
Okay, so a failure with a plus. Okay, in that case, you definitely see the golem coming to life, and it's starting to swing a big bludgeony sort of knobbled club in your direction, and you see that the best way to try and like actually, clear this obstacle would probably be to go forward because it's about to strike you from kind of behind. So, yeah. Can you give me a? Well, here's a choice. You can either take the hit and try your tinkering, or you can try and get to the other side quickly with your choice of nimbleness, athletics, or perception.
I do have pretty good perception, but I think me getting across won't help everyone else. So I'm going to take the hit and try the tinker.
Okay. Have you got any block?
Hang on. I have medium armor, but I couldn't find the section that tells me what that actually means. So let me.
Oh, really? It is. I'm genuinely not trying to be facetious when I tell you it's a section called armor. But if you have medium armor, yes, you have 1 block.
Then, yes, 1 block then.
Okay. Let's. I just want to look at something quickly. Let's say. Do I want to look at something written? No, I will do this. Okay. Well then, you know what? That knobbly club smacks into your back, but honestly, it's more like it's nothing you haven't felt before playing wug ball. And you know what? You're fine with it. You've taken bigger hits than this before. You shrug it off. Do you want to make a tinker roll, please? And not being damaged, I'll give you a +1 at your resilience in just taking that hit.
That is a total of 4.
Okay, well, I mean, that's a failure with a plus. You see a better route through to the other side, and if you want to take that route and shout back to follow you, you can give everyone a +1 on their roll to avoid the golem striking them.
I will do that.
Okay, so you make your way through. As I say, it's either perception, athletics, or nimbleness, and it will have a +1 to it.
I go for perception. It's a total of +3 and an 8.
There we go. Success with a twist. Let's say that on your way through, you kind of do the old, like, I'm imagining with perception, it's like, pause, go. You're like video gaming it, basically, right? Like dodging and the various sweeping. One has this big club, one has a kind of cutlass thing, and the other one doesn't have a weapon, but part of its arm is sheared away, and it's just got this big old spiky mechanical arm that it's waving around. I'm going to say that on dodging and kind of going through, one of the golems, unbeknownst to you, has slightly recalibrated the order in like the path of its swing. So the next person who comes after you will not get the +1, unbeknownst to them. So who's going next? Assuming that people are following Judy.
I would probably be.
I was voluntarily not going to go next because of that.
Oh, Sam, you don't need to roll.
Okay, that's fine.
You can
I can just slip
through.
around.
Yeah,
Nice.
you've already done the thing. You can slurp. You've made the vitality check. You can slurp through safely.
Okay, I'll be slurping around the side and going like go by slurping at them.
Like a kind of go, but instead it's
Then another
make that
sound,
noise again.
which is like stop, don't do that.
Make the go noise again.
I don't want to. Steve,
They're quite hard to discern.
are you going through with perception, athletics, or nimbleness?
I would be going through with athletics, I think.
Okay. So you don't get the +1 from Judy's instructions, unfortunately. But
okay, let's see how this D12 does.
let's see.
Oh. I rolled a 2 with +2 gives 4.
Okay, so that's a failure with a plus. So, like you say, you don't have any block, right?
No block.
Okay, but the plus is I'm gonna give you 1 block. From like, I don't know, you're just positioned in to take the hits in not a non-direct kind of way.
Well,
John, what were you going to say? Sorry.
Because I'm so invested, because I gave him this obviously poor advice because he's now being hit. As I see, if we could say it's the last golem, like taking the swipe, I shout, "Ogrum, no!" and rush forward to shove him out the way. I'm using Share the Load, which is suffer the consequences of the best chum's failed check.
Okay. Are you sure you want to do that?
It's like
is it something that has limited uses?
Yes.
Are you sure you want to do that?
Okay, I won't.
Take it, John. Take the opportunity to not do
Because
the
I
thing.
gave Ogrum 1 block and he just took 1 damage, so no damage.
Okay. And like I stand from the sidelines and shout, "Ogrum, no!"
It is a
but
comedic
everything is
moment,
fine.
though, if Judy does dive in front of a completely...
If you want to do it, that's fine.
undamaging
I feel at this stage, just kind of be fair to just indicate to you that it might not be the most action efficient choice. That's all. So are we pulling that one back?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think like hearing that. So bugbears are good at wrestling. So fairly hardy individuals anyway. So probably maybe I hear Judy yell that, and the attack just kind of bounces off.
Yeah, it just basically thumps you on your head. But you've taken worse playing bugbear ball. And
I will continue.
I don't want to know what gelatinous goo ball is like.
That was banned long before For Purple was born. So yeah, you make it through. You take a bit of a thwack on the noggin, but nothing you can't shrug off. Time for Kra. And Kra, as I say, perception or athletics or nimbleness with a +1.
I think we're going to go with perception to get a +2 for that. Rolled an 8, so 10 in total.
Flawless. You know?
The dice are my friends today.
Yeah. And clearly that video game approach of stop-start to go through them is the thing that works. If we need to come back through here, you're not going to have to roll again. You've all got like the knack of it down now.
That's good.
And as you kind of emerge on the other side, you hear the golems kind of sort of just power down and stop striking out. And you find yourself in a passageway leading south. It is about 8 meters long and then opens into a room at the end.
Before I leave that other room, can I use my sticky fingers ability to pickpocket one of the weapons off the golems? 'Cause it'd be quite nice to have a weapon. It seems logical.
Yeah. How does sticky fingers work?
It just says nimbleness check once every session. Pickpocket an NPC and invent a stolen mundane item, and it's a logical circumstance.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll try my nimbleness then. Dice. Oh yeah, I don't have physical dice.
I think like when it says invent, I remember reading that and going, what does that technically mean?
Yeah,
Does
I
that
was
mean
kind of
it's
not sure.
GM's decision or it's a role or something like that?
That's why I was waiting for something a bit story based that made sense. So
yeah, sure. Oh, to game it and cheat. Yeah. I get it.
Well, I needed inspiration. I don't know what I wanted otherwise.
Sure.
Well, he's a rascal, so
8. That's a 9.
So that's a success, right?
Yep, I think that's a success.
Okay. Well then, I'm going to say that you managed to nick. Pardon me. You managed to steal the that sort of knobbly club that they have. It's just a one-handed melee weapon, so it doesn't adjust your dread. But it does mean, of course, when you attack with it, now you won't be attacking with disadvantage from essentially being unarmed. So yeah, you get a knobbly club to hit people with. It seems like a bit of a weird weapon to you. Why would being smacked with something blunt hurt anyone?
Yeah. Apparently it does them, so.
Yeah, so there we go. Anyway, but yeah, you managed to nab it off the golem. That's a once per session thing, right?
Yeah, that's a once per session. I will slip and slime in a little later. You're probably wondering where I was, and I'll be holding this big old club from one of the golems. I think you've known Flurple long enough now to kind of get the impression that Flurple is very happy, despite the fact there's no visible.
Something about the shimmer, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. The color, perhaps a little more translucent than before.
Absolutely. Anyway, you find yourselves in a fairly square 10 by 10 meter room. There is in the center of the room, the only thing you can see other than kind of the stone of the walls and the light coming down from above is what looks like an ancient and slightly withered tree, although a big kind of thick one. It just doesn't look particularly healthy. It's overgrown with lichen, and there is what looks like a large metal door in the tree. The tree also has a large stone slab in front of it with some words carved into it.
Just quick map check. Is this room? Was this the corridor south? There was a. You said there was a.
It was a corridor south. Stephen, right. do you want to flash up so we can judge you?
Yes. No, I don't. But right, can we see this? Hang on.
Okay, yes. Yeah.
Is that about right?
That's sort of. It will definitely do. I think. Hang on. Golems.
The scale might be a little wonky, but
east and south. That seems what I remember.
Yeah, I would say the only thing I'd adjust with that is that this passageway comes into that tree room at the very northeast corner of it.
Oh.
I don't think it probably won't matter.
The very northeast corner. Oh, okay. So everything's
sorry, northwest corner of it. Fuck.
Oh, okay. So it's shunted over to the right a bit.
Yeah, shunt it over to the right a bit, maybe. But honestly, I don't think it'll matter that much if you get the thing slightly wrong. It also has a passageway leading out of it on the east wall.
East wall. Cool. Yeah. That's definitely sorted that one.
Yeah. It's all good. I probably won't make corrections like that in future because they don't actually.
Honestly, that was my fault for not asking where the corridor came into the room. So
it's all good.
Lesson learned.
You've had this thrust upon you, Stephen. I don't blame you.
I know. I was not expecting to take on this amount of responsibility this afternoon.
Who would? So
this tree, does it extend like up and out the room, or is the room really tall?
Not. I mean, the room is like how did I say, like 4 to 5 meters? So it's like
it's a reasonably sized tree.
The branches are brushing the cobblestones on.
Gotcha.
The roof, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Is it a dark room? There's no light on the tree.
As I said, every room, unless I say otherwise, is illuminated by shafts of light from above, from the windows in the cobblestones of the road.
Well, I think heading over to read what's on the stone slab seems reasonable.
Absolutely. In a very old-looking script, what is written on the slab is, "This is a room you cannot enter."
immediately turn and look around and squint.
Sounds like a riddle.
I think it might mean the room in the tree. Actually,
Oh, okay.
What kind of room can't you enter?
A
mushroom.
I was just literally.
The
I was
door clicks. You magnificent bastards.
I think we've got a knack for this adventuring stuff, you know.
I'm excellent at riddles.
I will put up a slimy appendage to high five.
Oh my god, this dungeon's going to be a walkover. All the riddles are terrible puns. So, yeah, the door clicks open.
It would be rude not to, wouldn't it?
Let's go.
Inside is what is essentially a large kind of coffin-sized metal box set into the tree. There is halfway down it, like a little metal shelf. On the shelf is a little red cushion that's quite tattered and frayed. On that cushion is a tarnished silver key.
Does it look exactly the same as the last one?
Exactly the same as the last one.
I will be poking at Kra to make you check them both alongside each other.
Examine them both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, assuming that they both look the same. Unless anybody has any objections, I'll take them both.
Fine by me.
The purple looks pensive and then slimes. I think we're going to find a door with lots of keyholes.
Seems likely. If I know anything about dungeoneering, which I don't, that's exactly what will happen.
Hell of a time to mention that.
Well, we haven't got a dungeoneer, have we?
So, what do we do?
You said there was another exit to this room, did you?
In the east wall.
Yeah, that way then.
Okay. As you are all walking over to said east wall, could you all give me a perception roll, please?
Is it a listening thing?
It is not a listening thing.
Okay, sorry, I have a proficiency in listening. So one of those annoying things you need to check whenever you roll everything.
Yeah, I get it.
14.
Ooh. 13.
I thought I did quite well. I rolled an 11, but you know.
I got a 7, which is still a success.
Okay, with a twist.
Yeah.
You know what? I think for a lot of these, like, because there's definitely a difference in, unless I've misread the book, there's a difference between an exact skill check and like just what it calls like a 6+ check, which is just like a quick thing, right? I think I'm going to save the like nuanced consequences for when you're doing an actual full skill. You're trying something that's more reactive and kind of like you just need to find out if you do it. I might not go down that road. I think that's sensible, right?
Yeah.
So I won't do anything like that in this instance. But you do all come to a halt, especially Gra and for Purple. God damn you both. Who basically you just come to a halt and look down at the big beastly tracks in that have crushed flagstones. You can't. They're not like. It looks like something has been roaming around here, right? It doesn't look like it's not a track you can follow. Just at various points around here, something big has put horrible clawed hooves down and crushed the nearby stone.
Anyone recognize these?
They're not mine.
They're not mine.
Look at my own feet.
I don't think we've been this way before. I think it must be someone else.
Are they? They don't proceed into the room we just come from, Matt. They're just like in front of us.
They're just around. Like I say, they're not like tracks you can follow. Clearly, something has wandered here semi-frequently, right? They're just...
Where are we here? Are we in a corridor out of that?
You're in a
room?
corridor. The corridor leads 6 meters east, and then seems to turn and lead after that 6 meters another 2 meters south, and then seems to open up into a room.
Okay.
We can't hear any big, scary, stompy monsters.
Nope.
It's probably fine.
Maybe
Sure they're not here
it's
now.
something that was here a long time ago. Or maybe it's asleep.
Let's keep going. There's treasure east.
Always treasure east.
Always.
Okay, you carry on going, and you find yourself at the end of this kind of angled corridor in a quite a narrow room. It's 4 meters wide and 8 meters deep, and there is in it not a lot apart from on the east wall. There is a great many mushrooms embedded, growing through the cracks in the wall. They're filling the air with a pinkish haze of spores around them. And nestled in among them is a glinting silver key. As far as exits from the room go as well, in the southwest corner, there is a corridor leading west and a corridor leading south.
I would like to try and identify the mushrooms, specifically to see if they are edible.
Sure. Would that be a wilderness check, I believe?
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, give me a wilderness check. No modifier from me.
An 8.
An 8. Okay, I have to make up a name. These are called global shrooms. That was an 8 with a twist. They are not edible, but also their spores are not harmful in any way, shape, or form.
Excellent.
All those pink floating spores, like people often think it might be dangerous because they give off these big puffy clouds of pink, but they're not dangerous at all.
Then I will happily trudge forward and retrieve the key.
Okay, you have another key.
Huzzah!
The twist was that they weren't edible.
Yeah, I was very disappointed about that.
3 down, an unspecified number to go.
But we can't go east anymore. Like.
Well, we can go west, which is nearly as good as going east.
That's the worst version.
Well, south then.
Amazing.
Sure, why not? Why
South
not?
could go east.
South, yeah.
Okay. The corridors may have corners.
I've
It's
just
happened
realised.
before.
I've just realised Fleur Purple's navigation strategy is the worst strategy for map drawers, isn't it?
I mean, I hope we reach the edge of the dungeon before I get to the edge of the paper, but if not, I'm just going to have to find a way to deal with that.
South.
South.
South?
South. Okay, you step into the southerly corridor. It carries on for 8 meters. It does so, as you're going forwards, you hear a very kind of like distinctive noise. It sounds like something. Oh, sorry, I should have said that the beastly footprints continued in the previous room. They did that. You hear the sound of something quite high pitched going from here. It just sounds like.
It sounds like there's someone else under here.
Sounds like they've just heard a wonderful joke.
I will stay at the back.
Yeah, I am gonna I guess we haven't specified, but I would imagine unless we're saying otherwise, it's going to be Ogram, then Judy, then Kra, then for purple.
I guess
Because
that's
like I
reasonable,
don't
yeah.
really want to get between Ogram and Judy. Like they're clearly
Yeah, we're
good
gonna
friends.
stick together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Well, I will. I'll head forward and
Okay.
see what I can see.
Well, you enter into quite a large room. It's about 10 meters wide and 8 meters deep. It definitely has a kind of slight stench to it, a little bit of a tinge of stink, and is maybe a little bit darker than some of the other rooms you've been in. There is quite large, though not huge, shadowy figure on the far side of the room that seems to be pacing back and forth a little bit, and is definitely the source of those odd noises. It looms out of the shadows, not in a directly, it's not coming for you, but it's definitely one of the odder creatures you've ever seen. For context, it's probably about 8 feet tall, so it's pretty big. I would like, all of you can see it, I would like all of you to make a wilderness roll, please.
Somehow I got a 10.
11.
10.
10.
Okay. Well, then you've all heard tales of a beast you should beware when traveling the wildernesses of the Mucklands, which is, of course, the cackaltrice. It kind of takes you all in, carries on with its odd tittering noises, and then like lurches forward a step and goes, wait! Have you heard this one? What is a sea serpent's favorite dish?
I look to Kra.
Fish and chips.
Jesus Christ! Oh my God!
You just won the game. You just won this game.
Beautiful.
Amazing. The cackaltrice kind of like arches its neck forward, tips it slightly on its side, and goes, very good, very good, very good. It retreats into the shadows slightly, kind of squats uncomfortably down on its arse with the thick tail running out to the side, kind of tips back against the wall and goes, it seems to be done with you. It looks like it's settling in for a good long cackle.
Is there anything else in this room?
No, nothing apart from exits. The exits are there in the southeast corner. There is a southerly passageway, and near the southwest corner there is a westerly passageway. And there is a big, plump, cackling cackaltrice, just tipped up against a wall. Its eyes are like rolling around in its head. It's very amused. Incidentally, I should say people say you should avoid the cackaltrice because it will tell awful jokes at you until you literally die of them. And then, eat you and stuff. So it's generally not a good idea to hang around them in all the tales you've heard.
Apparently, so will Stephen. So
I'm secretly a cackaltrice.
Yeah.
Well, we can't go south from here because I've run out of map. So west it is.
I'm up for that logic.
I
Nice.
have also, yeah.
Nice. Of course, after the stream, we do find out that Stephen has gone through the PDF and created a database of riddles with answers that he's just like running a quick Control F on.
No, I had a lot of really bad joke books as a kid, and by the sounds of it, the same ones that you had, Matt. So,
these aren't me.
Okay.
These are random encounters from the book.
oh, fantastic.
Oh,
Okay,
amazing.
then I guess I haven't read those encounters. And
Oh no,
because
it was. I am very much joking. I want to make that clear. Okay, you enter into a corridor that runs about 4 meters to the west, passing plenty of more of those large tracks as you do so. And then you emerge into quite a small chamber. It's 4 meters wide, 6 meters deep, and it is mostly occupied with the very large body of some kind of horrible giant beast with clawed hooves. At first, you think the beast is merely sleeping because you think its side is moving. And then you realize, as a snout pokes out from a hole in the side, that it's not asleep. It's just dead and full of something feasting on it.
Yeah. I think I back out of the room.
There are a couple of exits from the room as well, but obviously you've got to try and deal with whatever this is if you want to get to them.
Well, hang on. If it's busy feeding, then why would it stop to try and eat us?
that's an interesting use of the word feeding.
I just found it scary. I schlurp.
That's fair. That's understandable.
I think it looks unhygienic.
How big is this thing?
Oh, what, the thing that's dead? Oh,
The thing that's eating the thing that's dead.
oh, the snouts poked out. I mean, they looked maybe like, somewhere between a cat and a dog, maybe.
Oh, that's fine. That's small.
I mean, I'm small.
Yeah, but you're not. I'm also not afraid of you.
The point is, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay.
Although I will come back into the room.
Nice.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry. I've got this. I've got this.
Okay.
And, yeah, I'll take a hold of my mace and just make sure I sort of position myself between it and the rest of us.
Absolutely. Well, as you all kind of enter the room and kind of move forward in it in a little bit, the sort of wriggling and writhing under the surface of this giant beast's skin becomes more animated, and all of a sudden, first one snout pokes out of the body, and then another and another, until hopping out on like the haunches of this giant dead monster are 6 killer rats. They're big rats. They're pretty fearsome, and they look like they've been driven into some sort of feeding frenzy.
Okay, I was only expecting one. I'll put my hand up now. That's on me.
Olgrim just turns around, faces back to the killer rats, and goes, "Sorry, folks, made a mistake."
Don't mind us.
Nice.
Yeah, can we just keep sidling by and hope that they don't do anything?
We promise we don't want to eat your food. We have our own food.
Notice the GM writing down some combat details while you all try and negotiate. No, but we will be entering combat now, which needn't lead to combat, interestingly enough, in this. But let's take a look at how we do this in order. So the first thing we do is sort initiative, which I honestly can't believe that I didn't cheat sheet, but I can remember how it works, so that's fine. Or at least I think I can. Can I?
Was it a perception roll?
I think it is perception, yeah. Let me just double check. But I think it is. Oh, it's only in combat that it goes to initiative. That's why I have cheat sheeted it. I'm just confused. Okay, so the first phase is parley, right? This is if you want to try and avoid combat. Okay, so if they're like a sentient type creature, you can parley with them in any number of ways, rolling kind of appropriate skills as you see fit. If they are not sort of sentient, if they're critters, they can be wrangled using the wilderness skill. Okay. And essentially what that, can be interpreted however you want, whether it's like taming it or scaring it away or whatever. So basically everyone, any PC who wishes to engage with, in this case, trying to wrangle these creatures to avoid conflict, can do so. Every single adversary in the game has either a wrangle or a parley score, and that indicates how many times it can be attempted before nothing else is happening, like combat, running away, or combat. Like, they're not going to not attack, so since we're in this parley phase, would anyone try and like to wrangle the killer rats in any way? And wrangling is always wilderness.
I'll give that a try.
Judy, give it a try for us. Let's see what you can do.
That is a 2.
That is a 2. A complete failure. I will also...
Yeah.
Yeah?
Nope. Yeah. It's fine.
Okay. I will also let you know that the wrangle score of these killer rats is 1. So, with that in mind, yeah. So now we move on to a phase called improvise, where people can use an... Sorry?
Sorry, you go on. You finish.
No, you go on.
I was just curious what Judy was attempting to do to the rats.
Oh, yeah.
Just yelling at them?
What were you doing?
Yeah.
I was gonna try and scare them off. So I sort of move forward. I wave my arms, say, "Go on, rats."
Yeah, there's
We're not eatable.
There's a lot of nose twitching, and the largest one licks its lips.
Go about your business.
It's all right. We used to get these all the time at the bakery. They're very skittish.
Yeah. So after the parley phase is the improvise phase, where you can use an action to do something other than fight. This is the time it says for PCs to use their non-social skills and abilities to help overcome or diffuse the situation. So anything you can think of that's like something you can do to try and help in some way that isn't either running away or hitting something, essentially. So does anyone want to do that? You do only have one action and one move in it for the entire round, right? So I probably should have said that. So that does mean that Judy isn't doing anything when it comes to the combat for the first round anyway. So if someone wants to do something now, they ain't hitting the killer rats. That's what I'm saying.
I would like to attempt to use my ruffian, which is a might check. Once every session, knock an unsuspecting goon or bruiser unconscious. Unsuspecting, though, now that implies they're looking at me, so I probably can't use that.
But you said you were at the back of the group.
Yeah, and I'm kind of hiding.
I'm going to allow this.
Okay.
But only if you lob your club at it.
Well, I hope I'll get it back afterwards, and I love the idea of lobbing clubs. So
sure. Yeah. Okay, make that check.
Is +1. That's a 6, which would be a
success.
Fail. Oh, is it?
No, it's not. It's a success with the twist.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. So I'm going to say that you lob your club at the killer rat, spins through the air, clonks one of them firmly in the forehead, and it like topples backwards, sort of like X's for eyes, off the back of the giant beast. And you hear your club like go over the top, and you hear a kind of like It sounds very much like the noise a club would make if it rolled into some deep crevice.
There's a very unhappy squelching noise from behind everyone.
But one of the rats is knocked out. So there we go. Is anyone else using their action in the improvise phase? Nope.
I will just be readying my mace. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the next phase is run. So does anyone want to flee? Take it no. Not fleeing from the rats.
A knight is not going to flee
in a fantasy
from
game.
No.
Okay, then we're into combat. So what we do, every PC acting in combat, so we don't need to bother with Sam and John, makes a perception check to determine attack order. And essentially, if you roll a 6 or above, you go before the killer rats. If you roll 5 or less, you go after them. It's as simple as that.
That's a 7 for me.
I rolled an 8.
There we go. If you rolled 8, let's go with you first, Ogrim. So what you need to do is try and hit them. Obviously, you roll attack, which you should have a modifier for. It's modified by their defense, which is 0. So it's just a straight up roll of attack from you, please.
Okay. I might as well try this because it's once every combat. So my mace is an exceptional mace. So it's is that magnificent weapons? So essentially what that means is once every combat, I gain advantage on attack.
Okay.
So I might as well give it a go.
Yeah,
my attack bonus is +2. That's a 13 and a 10. So 13, yes.
Yeah, so that's a critical hit, right? So, you double your dread roll.
Wow. Okay. So dread, my dread die is 1d10. I rolled a 1.
Okay. So that means you deal 2 dread, right?
Yeah.
Well, they have 2 courage.
Oh, okay.
So I was gonna have like obviously maybe a big dramatic effect if you'd like hit one for like 20 and just explode to this rat. But no, you just dealt with it as was. So what you tell me what it looks like when Ogrim kills a rat.
Well, I guess I'll sort of wind up my macing arm.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I don't want to overbalance myself at this point, so I'm just sort of the nearest one. I will strike it firmly and meaningfully on the head with my mace. Yeah, absolutely. Just straight overhead. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Well, that rat slides off the haunches of the dead giant beast. Definitely the worse for wear. By which I mean you just brained a rat. Like I say, there's no modifiers on this, so just give us a good old attack roll, please.
Yeah, fantastic.
Assuming you're going for one with your knife.
No, not at all. No, I'm going to make sure that there's some distance between me and the rats, and I'm going to crank up the hurdy-gurdy.
Oh, does this happen in combat?
It's a face melting battle shanty. Yeah. So battle songs. Essentially, during combat, my instrument counts as a ranged weapon and inflicts non-lethal dread that can't be blocked by armor.
Oh,
so I can do ranged attacks. Yes, that's the bard thing. I could do ranged attacks with the hurdy-gurdy.
Right, nice.
But it's armor, but non-lethal.
And it's also a D4.
And it's a D4, because I'm a bard. So I guess that's just a standard ranged attack then, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you are at. There's a thing about range, but I don't think we need to get into it right now. But you could definitely use it.
So roll a 10. My attack's -1, so that's 9, which does
it's just a success.
So hit, cool, and then what? D4 damage.
Yep.
Lovely. There's a 3.
Okay. Your hurdy-gurdy revs up. No, kind of. Starts its slightly maddening whirligig tinkling, and one of the rats kind of like stands up for a second. Right, I'm going to compare it. You know the rat that gets driven mad in Raiders of the Lost Ark by the Ark of the Covenant when it's on fire in the ship's hold, and it's kind of like it looks like that. It's not the harshest critical reception you've ever had, but it's not good.
I've not made a new fan today.
No, you have not. You definitely can't tick that box for XP. And the rat just scampers. The rat's had enough. Like, it's one thing for you to start braining him with clubs and maces. It's another thing for this kind of illegal audio warfare. So, yeah. And then we get the rats go. So, I'm so not used with Simbaroom to rolling for enemies to hit, but here we go. So the rats have an attack +1. First one is going to attack Ogrum. What's your defense, Ogrum?
My defense is -1.
Defense is a -1, so that's just a flat attack then, which hits with an 11.
Oof.
So you don't have any block, do you?
I do not. No.
You do not. In which case, first off, I'll roll your dread, but also I would like you to make a vitality check, please.
Okay. That would be a 7. 5 + 2.
So that's a success, right? Yeah. Okay. This rat is going to scamper up to you, Ogrum. And I don't know how much courage you have, so I don't know what proportion of your.
Currently, I have 14.
Okay. Well, this rat is going to scamper up to you, Ogrum, leap, tangle itself thoroughly in your hair, at your neck, and right down on your neck. It's really painful. There's a lot of blood. It's
Ow.
not good. Take 6 dread, please.
Yikes. Okay. Ow.
It's gnawing away. So the other 3, there's another 2 rats, and I'm just going to roll randomly. I'm just going to sick a rat on people individually, but let's start with 6. I think the other rats have a good reason to go for all of you, because one of you looks tasty and tried to scare them away. Another one lobbed a club at them, and the other one is playing a hurdy-gurdy, and those are all equal crimes. So one is going to go for Judy. Judy, what is your defense?
My defense is +1.
+1, so that's a flat roll again. That is a 4, which is a miss with a plus.
Isn't a +1 making it extra for the rat, not the other way around?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What?
John's roll is a bad.
Oh,
The
yeah.
defense score, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, then in
Sorry,
that
John.
case, that goes to 6, which is a hit, but a hit with a counter attack. So let's deal with the rat's hit first. You have got block, haven't you, Judy?
Yes, 1.
Block of 1. Okay. Okay. Then the rat latched onto your arm and kind of like scraping away happily with its hind claws at the underside of your arm is definitely not doing quite as much damage as it could be doing, but it really hurts, specifically to the tune of 4 dread. But now you get to hit it back with a counter attack.
I'm going to whack it with my frying pan. Not my good
Absolutely.
frying pan, obviously.
Sure. So this is an attack at a disadvantage, right? Because you don't have a
Because
proper
it's
weapon.
improvised, yes.
Yeah. Okay. What's your attack?
+0.
Okay. Well, they're at 0 as well, so it's just a flat disadvantage roll.
Okay. And my worst was a 9.
So that's just a normal hit, right?
Yeah, so that's D6.
Yeah. D6 damage.
6.
Oh, hang on. Is the 1 second. Question. Is the disadvantage on the damage or the attack?
I think it's on the attack, but I'll...
Yeah, it says attacking without a true weapon is a disadvantage. Yeah. Yes, I guess so.
If it says attacking, I put it on the attack.
Yeah, it says attacking. So, okay, it's on the attacking roll, sure. Okay, it was 6 damage, did you say?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, you basically flatten this rat. It gives a pathetic little squeak and drops down to the ground, kind of like half flattened from what you've done. So there we go. The last rat is going to attack. It's going to attack for a purple.
I'm not tasty.
Purple, what's
just
your defense?
-2.
Ooh, pretty good.
Quite hard to hit, being a slime.
So that's a -1 on its roll, which changes it to a 7. So that is a hit with a counter attack.
I have no block.
You have no block. God. I am rolling amazing, just so you all know.
No, I don't have that much courage.
Well, what you do have is a rat burrowing into you and kind of like swallowing great gulps of globby gelatinous goo, kind of just visible under your surface. Takes 6 dread.
Oh, I'm half dead.
Wow.
That's painful.
But you do have a counter attack, which I'm going to assume is you tensing to try and crush the rat.
Yeah, I suppose I'll try and drown the rat.
Sure.
Digest it. Yeah.
That's an attack with disadvantage, please.
Okay.
And it doesn't have any defense, so whatever your attack modifier is.
Got it. So my attack modifier is... Where's it gone? There it is. Oh god, how have I lost it? Okay, my attack modifier is a +1. So... disadvantage. So, I got the lower of those was a 7. So that's a success.
Okay, so a hit with a counter attack should it survive. So can you roll damage, please?
Yeah, d6 is a 5.
Yeah, it's not getting a counter attack, but you do now have a confused looking dead rat kind of
This is not good for my health.
inside you.
It's not good for the party's image either.
No.
Can't be squashing around with a dead rat inside you. So there's only one rat left. So I'm going to make a metal check for that rat. And their metal is pretty shit. So let's find out how they do. I'll just double check the rules for metal. 1 second. If I can. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Oh my god. You guys, this rat is fighting to the last. It is mad that you have kind of killed its brood mates, which doesn't seem a word we should be using in Land of Eem. But we're back round to the beginning. There's no point doing the parley because you're out of wrangling tries. So does anyone want to use improvise on the remaining rat, which is currently swinging from Ogram's neck? Any improvise, or are we just going to go straight to combat? Straight to combat. Okay, initiative rolls, please. So that's perception.
Got a 10.
10.
3.
3.
Also a 10.
Ooh, okay, let's roll that. Okay, for Plurple.
Okay, I guess I'll get my pickaxe out and swing it at Ogram's neck. Hopefully not hitting his neck.
Seems like a good idea. Let's
Can't
definitely
see what could go wrong.
Yeah, let's get a hit with a
Yeah, roll high on that one, please.
Attacks, so there we go. Okay, yeah, roll at disadvantage.
Yeah, it's a pickaxe
with whatever your attack is.
So it's a +1. Okay, so that is a 4.
A 4 is your lowest.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we know where this is going.
I don't know where it's going either yet. So that is a miss with a plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a miss with a plus. Set up the thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you swing with your pickaxe. It doesn't hit the rat, but it knocks it off Ogram's neck. It comes out with only a little chunk of furry flesh and drops to the ground. It's now on the ground in front of Ogram, sort of going, kind of like half savaging the chunk it's pulled from Ogram and half just kind of like, ugh. So that gives a +1 to hit until its turn. So in effect, Judy now has a +1 to hit on it. So Judy, with an extra +1 to your attack, roll attack. With a disadvantage, I guess, because you haven't got a weapon, right?
I think I've actually double checked it. I think the disadvantage might be on the dread.
It kind of makes more sense to me to be on the dread. Where does it say it?
I'm looking at page 81,
Mm-hmm.
and it says inflict dread with disadvantage, and then ranged weapons right underneath it says attack suffer disadvantage. So to me, the ranged weapon, the attack would be a disadvantage, but an improvised weapon, the dread is at disadvantage.
This is page 81, you say?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me just double check that. I think that sounds right. Oh yeah, inflicts dread with disadvantage. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay, well, lesson learned. So in that case, roll an attack with without disadvantage and with a +1, and then
That is a 12.
Oh, that's a critical hit. That's a critical hit. So you roll dread with disadvantage, but then you're going to double whatever the disadvantaged result is. Yes, which I think means you've automatically killed it, but yeah.
4. As in I rolled a 2 and then it doubles to 4.
Okay, yeah. What are you using your frying pan again?
Not my good frying pan, but yes.
No. Yeah, you tell me how you squash this rat, because that's what's going to happen.
I mean, it's sitting there. I've got a pan in my hand. It's fairly trivial to go.
Yeah. You ironically are going to turn it into Ratatouille. Okay. Yeah. With one last kind of pathetic squishing noise, the killer rats are dead. Dead. Gone. Done.
Huzzah!
Huzzah.
Ow.
Is everyone okay?
No.
Anyone looks up for Plurple is just...
I have a rat in me.
Would you like me to try and get it out?
I think arrest and maybe yes.
And I'm just sort of like wheeling around, sort of, yeah, hand on neck and just
Okay, right.
Are you pondering whether to do your singing?
Yes, I am pondering. Okay, mechanically, the perk is called Invigorate. Can invigorate themselves and their allies, healing courage. Twice every session, when out of conflict, invigorate a target for D6 +1 courage. The +1 is because it's a stringed instrument, which is why that matters. So I'm like, if it's one target twice per session, I wonder if I'm just going to sing a song for Ogram and for Plurple.
Yeah,
I think that's what I'm going to do. They both look pretty bashed up. So.
Also, I love the image of you singing this song to me to soothe me while Judy is like pulling a dead rat from inside me.
Yes, yeah, it's going to be a soothing kind of lullaby. I think.
Yeah, I think it basically means you can carry out 2 heals.
Yes.
During
I'm going to do them both now. Essentially, I assume they're both individual roles, though, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you could also use your little ditty, right, to heal everyone.
That's a once per session, isn't it?
It's a once every session, which means I believe you can use a quest point to do it again as many times as you want. Right?
Okay. All right. Yeah, let's do that. That's because that's going to invigorate the entire party, an amount of courage equal to the inspire check. So I have to roll and then add inspire.
Because most people are injured, right? So I just thought it might be more.
Yeah. Well, certainly, half of us, which is enough. One person. Okay, so that's like roll
D as well, I think.
Yeah, Judy's a bit.
Oh, okay, cool. Then let's definitely do that. So it's D12 plus inspire, right?
It is.
I've just got roll plus inspire, but so I assume unless it's otherwise specified.
It's an inspire check.
Yeah. Okay. So my inspire is +3. Wow. Yeah. I think everyone's healed for that. I rolled 11. So.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's
14.
a really good. It's a really good ability because effectively you can't fail. It's just you heal.
It's always going to
according
heal something. Yeah.
Yeah, you heal according to.
What sort of song do you play?
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be like a bit of a refrain from what I played during the battle. It's going to be. So I think during the battle I was playing a song, a well-known standard shanty called Malio Sprat in the Basement of Rats, about a plucky adventurer's first, first in combat encounter, and now I'm doing the refrain. I'm just going to be changing the lyrics to basically talk about us, like putting our names in the song.
Yeah.
Well, I would say at the end of this, Plurple will come up to you and like just be like, "I really like your music," as a little slurp.
I'm shipping it. And
I'm taking an XP for it.
And
I got a new fan.
As you do so, the rat kind of finally goes. So, the exits out of this room. I obviously you might want to interact more. I don't know, but the exits out of this room, so we know, are to the northwest of the room. There is a passageway leading west, and to the southeast of the room, there is a passageway leading south.
I know a really good recipe for killer rat jerky. So could I harvest 1 or 2 of these killer rat tails?
Absolutely. By that, do you mean that you looked up the recipe and saw that you could have killer rats as components?
Yes.
I don't know. Is there I'm assuming there's a role for actually harvesting things, and it's not just automatic. I don't know. Is there?
I feel like it'd be wilderness, wouldn't you?
I think there should be for these ones because we just splatted them. But let me blah, 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 blah.
There are things there are roles if you're traveling and you're gathering stuff.
Yeah.
But harvested animal parts obtained by hunting when you're traveling, or by defeated certain critters and creepers.
Okay. So I guess that it is just automatic, I guess. Make a wilderness check.
The creature has a difficulty to harvest.
No, there's nothing like that. But I was thinking it might be useful to not just have it be automatic. But I don't know. Maybe that's silly. Maybe that is silly. Okay. So I'm assuming that killer rat tail is
Hang on. Sorry. I've just found a page in the rulebook. I think page 100 is about finding components.
Yeah,
it says the first thing. But it's not. We're not in the wilderness.
It's when you're traveling, yeah.
No, yeah, and it's you make a wilderness check to find them, right?
Well, then it says make a wilderness check using the gather materials, fish, hunt, or pick herbs charts.
Yeah,
but then it's
that's for finding a random.
No, this is Sorry, I'm a bit behind you, but yes, no, I've now convinced myself that there's no role because the rats are right there, right?
Yeah, I am gonna ask for a roll to see how well you preserve the stuff though. But I think I will guarantee you at least one. But if you make a wilderness roll, and you know what, you can make a wilderness roll, and it can be at a +3, and remember that it caps at 3, right? Because I'm basically gonna add 1 for every extra chance you get, right? That makes sense. So a wilderness roll at +3, and let's see how you do.
13.
You get 4 killer rat tails.
Excellent.
And the 4 is because one of them ran off, and one of them was brained by a club and then has since scampered away.
Got it.
So you have 4 killer rat tails. Enjoy. Okay, are we doing anything else here? Are we moving on?
I mean, I guess having sort of stemmed the bleeding and recovered my composure, I'll sort of look at this big animal, try and figure out whether I know what it is, just out of interest.
Sure. You have no idea what it is, but as you poke at it, you see that somewhere inside all that horrible nastiness that the killer rats were gnawing through, there is something glinting.
Ooh. Well, I'll fish that out then if I can.
It is a tarnished silver key.
I've got one too. Kra, do you want to hang on to this?
Okay, if you like. That's 4 we have now.
But how many do we need? I schlep.
Who can say?
How many keys is it normal to need?
That's a deep question.
Usually just the one, unless you're really forgetful.
It usually depends on how many doors you need to open.
So what we're saying is either this dungeon has a door with 1 million locks, or someone was really forgetful down here.
Seems right.
I mean, that's a complex set of concepts to try and express as Jelly.
A complex schlurper, what can I say? Well, how much of that you get?
I'm a complex schlurper, what can I say?
Yes, friend. Definitely.
Just nod and smile.
Were you following all those motions and schlurping sounds?
Not at all, no.
So, what are we doing? What are we doing, folks?
We have to go west. I've run out of space to the south.
If I could reach my sellotape, I could maybe stick another sheet of paper onto my backup map.
We can't go east, so I don't mind.
Well, you know.
So the exits in this room were one heading west at the northwest corner,
yeah, and
one
one
heading south at the southeast corner.
Correct.
Right.
Are you also mapping, Steve?
I am backup mapping. Yes.
Okay. Are you at the edge of your piece of paper?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Then we definitely can't go
Definitely
south.
can't go
It's
south.
clearly impossible.
So
That's
let's.
one conclusion we've drawn here.
Well, then you go west, and you go west to the tune of about 6 meters. And ahead of you, you see a long, thin, almost like a wide corridor type room. It is 5 meters wide and 4 meters deep. It seems to have a door at the far end of it, and on the middle of the floor of the room, it's quite a well illuminated room. And in the middle of the floor of it, there is some kind of dark metal box.
Move slowly towards the box, cautiously.
Okay. The moment you enter the room, and just for Purple said it was what they were doing. The ones behind you, see for Purple, just slowly start to hover up in the air, gently rotate, and then eventually, after probably about 10 seconds or so, plop onto the ceiling quite happily.
Do I notice this at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. You are upside down and walking on the ceiling, or sliming on the ceiling.
I'll make a curious slurp noise.
There's a good
Everybody's
music track.
sliming on the ceiling.
Does the ceiling seem dangerous at all?
No, not at all. And it's quite weird because you can look down and see people walking through like a thick glass panel. They don't seem to have noticed you, but then you are see-through. So
That's true. I'm probably not visible. I guess I'll slurp along the room for a while and then get to the middle above the box and then frustratedly realize that I now can't get it.
Yes, that's exactly right.
That's a neat trick.
It's not me, I slurp.
Can you get back down?
First of all, I guess I'll try going back to people and see if I...
Sure. As soon as you get very near the door on this eastern wall, the same thing happens again in reverse, and you
got it
on the ground in front of them.
Go on.
Is everyone doing it?
Yep.
I get so the box is in the middle of the room on the floor.
Correct.
Right. I will. I'm going to try to edge round the side of the room. Okay, hugging the wall. I want to see whether the. Ooh, okay.
How tall is the room?
5 meters. The 45.
Oh yeah.
Sam.
I'm just trying to gauge if we put Ogrim and then Judy and then Kra on top of each other, if I could swipe to the top and reach the box.
If you climb on each other's shoulders, I'm absolutely sure you will. Like,
Yeah.
I think if Judy and Ogrim get on each other's shoulders, they could probably at least try for it.
Yeah, I will motion that that's what you should try and do.
All right,
shot,
I
I
will
guess,
join.
yeah.
I will join Ogrim on the ceiling.
Okay. So you're kind of going along the middle of the ceiling until the box is directly above you, and then going to try and climb on each other to get to it, right?
Yeah.
Then I'll say right off the bat that both of you notice there's some kind of switch on the box.
Okay.
So what we're doing is trying to. So wugs and bugbears are both big, right?
Yeah.
Because there is a thing in the game of like small, medium, and big. Yeah, I think you've got a good chance here. So what I'm going to want from you, I'm going to want a double roll here. So it's Wug climbing up on it's Judy climbing on Ogrim, right?
I
Or
will
the other way
volunteer
around.
to lift Ogrim because I'm good at lifting things.
Okay. In that case, first off, we need either an athletics or a might roll from you, Judy. And yes, you'll get advantage because it counts as lifting.
$11.
Perfect. Ogrim, you are balanced somewhat precariously on Judy's big, thick shoulders. You can't quite reach the box, whether you're trying to like wrestle it open or go for the switch or whatever you're doing.
Okay.
So you will need some kind of roll to get to it. And I'm going to leave it open to you what you think that roll might be.
I do have, so as part of the equipment list that I started with, same for Judy actually, I do have, because the drippy downs are quite moist, so I do have an umbrella. So I reckon I'm going to get out this, whilst balancing on Judy, get out this umbrella and then poke at, this is going to go badly, poke at the switch.
And what kind of roll do you... The one that jumps out to me is Tinker.
That's not my best, but I can, that's a -1 for me, but I can, I would, how about nimbleness?
I was going to say, could you argue nimbleness?
I think you can argue nimbleness. Yeah. Let's go for it.
Okay. That's a +1.
And you know what? Take a +1 for the umbrella.
Okay. Well, I rolled a 2, so +1 nimbleness, 3, +1 from the umbrella, 4. I need better dice.
Yeah, so if it's a 4, so that's failure with a plus, right? So yeah, you don't manage to. It's not that you can't reach it; it's just that it's very difficult to like poke the little switch with the umbrella. But here we go. Here's a plus for you. The plus for you is the sudden realization that a very similar task was solved by someone else in the party in quite a straightforward manner earlier. And they have not suggested trying it again. In fact, they've so not suggested trying it again.
They're hiding.
They're hiding and have turned their cam off.
I mean, to be fair, it might be that Kra thinks that flying upside down is a very confusing prospect that might not want to be tested.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
It's all right. Ogrim tried to flick the switch with an umbrella. and got failure with a plus, and the plus was the realization that they are effectively trying to do the same task that was done earlier in this dungeon by Kra with relatively little complexity.
Yeah. If anybody happens to turn and look at Kra at this point, he is busy attaching his grappling hook to his 50 feet of rope.
Ooh.
And it's like I don't know if there's anything that we can get purchase on the box, but the thinking was could throw the grappling hook at the box, and then regardless of whether you end up on the floor or the ceiling, so long as he holds onto the rope, he can scamper up / down it to get to the box.
Could Kra not fly?
Also that. We could try. I don't know which ways.
Kra just doesn't like repeating himself. That's
No, sure. Yeah. You do what you want. It just seems like you are creating a way by which you can travel vertically when you have wings.
Okay, right.
You do what you want.
No, I think, Kra will tentatively try flying, but if it looks like he's going to end up on the ceiling, then...
you are on
spinning in a curve.
Yeah, you are on this. Has Kra entered the room at this point?
No, I think Kra so far was standing basically in the entrance to the corridor. So
I think, but so Ogrim, having poked at this box and sort of flailed around a bit, will go, hang on, Kra, this is your thing, innit? Things in the sky.
It's upside down flying. I've never done it before, but okay.
Well, there's always a first time.
I will carefully attempt to fly towards the box.
Okay. You enter the room and are drawn upwards to the ceiling by the same force as everyone else. You tentatively kind of hop off your feet. Yeah, it's just the same, but everything's turned around.
Cool. Then I will fly to the box, and assuming that there's no other obvious way to interact with it, I will.
Yeah, and you don't have to do. Yeah, you could just tap the switch.
Not like this, but with my face. Yes.
Yeah, I think unlike yanking something off a chain, this is just pressing like a button that big. So I think you could just nudge it and kind of do it. Honestly.
Yeah.
As soon as you do, gravity flips round, and there's a big clunk from the door at the far western end of the corridor, and a small box or a small compartment flips open on the side of the switch box with a tarnished silver key in it. Who was on the ceiling? And Judy, presumably.
Yeah. I don't think I would have been smart enough to suggest getting back down.
We're both directly above Kra, too. Or you two are. Although I think Ogrim's probably much closer to the ground, at least.
Yeah, Ogrim's definitely closer to the ground. So with that in mind, let's see how this pans out. So I rolled that for that. I'm just trying to calculate in my head how. Yeah, I think this is what's got to happen. Unfortunately, I'm using a Simbaroom principle of falling here. So let's do.
For those that don't regularly watch Simbaroom, the Simbaroom falling rules recently killed a few NPCs.
Yeah. So that's got to be reduced. You know what? Ogrim, just take 1 dread from thumping down on your head, basically. Judy, you've got block 1, right?
Yep.
Take 3 dread, please. And for Plurple,
I'm wearing a hard hat.
You are wearing a hard hat. I'm going to roll this dread with disadvantage.
Yay! Helps my gelatinous.
I rolled the same thing twice. Take 2 dread.
Okay, well, that could have been worse.
As you splat into the ground in a slightly uncomfortable way. How many keys have we got now?
5?
Yeah?
Does that sound right to
That
people?
sounds right. Yeah, yeah.
Is no one tracking them? 5.
I'm
You've
tracking
got
them. We have 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, let's take our second break there. We'll be back in 10 minutes for more Land of Eem, folks. Join us then when we will continue. Oh, just making fools out of ourselves all over the place. It's great. Yeah. Okay. Goodbye. 10 minutes. Bye.